what exactly happened to these Callaway irons? Because the price you can get these for is, well, ludicrous. Especially when you consider they're an underrated version of, well, this. However, who are they for, and is there a reason why they're so cheap? I actually reviewed these irons 5 years ago and put myself through torture by watching that video back. And I did make some very valid points in that video. When you take out the very loud and very long intro, that made absolutely no impact to the entire video. However, the bit that I did like through that video is the early signs of what my channel was going to become.
Going for the older model, saving a bit of money, and potentially they could be just as good, if not better.
Because as we near 2025 and these clubs now being 5 years old, I honestly believe these are the best value set of irons you could potentially get if you're looking to change your irons or even upgrade to these. Now, I've got a very good test at the end of this video that hopefully will demystify some facts and figures that we have about irons. Essentially help you guys find underrated clubs in the market without the majority of the public even knowing. So before we cover the other set of Callaway irons that I have here, Callaway Apex CF19, and when I released that video 5 years ago, these were retailing at just over £1,000 for a set of irons, which coincidentally would have been the same price of what the 2019 P790s would have been, and this is actually a newer version, but more importantly, the same loft as the Apex that I have here in my left hand. However, 2019 P790 iron set, you'll be lucky to get under £500, especially if you're wanting 4 to pitching wedge. But when I show you the price of what these go for, you also will be thinking, well, what's wrong with them? Because it definitely isn't the way they sound and feel. Actually, when I tested the P790 against this, they sounded very similar. I definitely don't think it's the looks, because the looks of this iron I think look really good, very traditional, very classic. Having a set of these in the bag will complement any kind of brands and other colour schemes that you might have running through it. Maybe it's the way that they sit at a dress, but to be honest, for a head that's lofted at 30.5, which is the same loft of the P790 range and has been for an incredibly long time, you expect a touch of offset. You expect a slightly larger top line. And to be honest, when they're sat side by side, I mean, they're very difficult to tell apart. Which is why I brought the other iron set that I have here from Callaway, because the point I'm trying to make in this video is that golfers vary from club head speed, path, impact factors. Therefore, manufacturers have to make multiple different heads in their releases to suit every type of golfer. And realistically, at this point, the only thing that separates either of these is the badge on the back of it and, well, marketing. Which is also why I got hold of the 2019 Apex Pro, and shout out to Replay Golf for sourcing these clubs for me. Because once you understand loft and head design, you can go from one manufacturer that might be a bit more premium. For example, these P770s are going to be around £600 even second hand, versus Callaway's 33-degree head option, obviously a bit older, but basically goes for nothing. And we'll get into the test and price of these in a minute, but for that player that wants to dip its toe into that smaller head with a touch more forgiveness, tiny bit more backspin, this has to be one of my most underrated picks going into 2025. I mean, even I'm considering putting a set of these in my bag going into next year, because numbers-wise, nothing's really going to beat that. However, even though these irons don't share the same price tag when it comes to second hand, what they do share is distance. And yes, they're the same length. They've both got light regular flex shafts in them. And to be honest, hopefully do some credit for that 5-year-old video to say that actually you're kind of onto something. And that's picking an iron that you like the look of. Brand that feels like it speaks to you more, because physics has one rule. And if you hit this thing with the same loft and shaft and head design, well, it should do exactly the same thing. Now, there is a downside of these irons, and why I'm going to just swing it at my normal speed. However, these are a great compromise between forgiveness and not being huge cavity back irons. For 300 quid, I'm not being funny, you can't really do much better. Oh, absolute money. Now, I do have an argument why you would buy these instead of the Apexes. I mean, it's a small one, but it's still a point. However, if my theory is correct, it shouldn't have anything to do with, well, the numbers. I mean, it's a promising start. But we know the P790, even the 2019 version, is going to be more expensive. So why would I suggest getting it instead of the Apex? Ooh, that is very pulley. Oh dear. Obviously, anything that goes left of target is always going to go further because it's less lofted. Anything that goes right to the target is always going to go shorter because it's more lofted. That club face is more open, increasing the spin and launch. However, if I just take out and disable this one down here on the right-hand side, the one that I did pull, and then we just look at average numbers, 1995 carry, 196 carry, 207 total, 207 total. 5,200, 5,300, 18 launch, 20 launch. And if I wanted this test to be fairer, I'd have the exact same shaft in both of these, have them swing weighted so that they feel the same. But even without all of that, it's very accurate, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you watching would be happy with those shots that I just hit there. However, the point of this video was finding something that no one buys, and what has happened to the Callaway Apex range, and why is it so cheap when evidently it compares very well to something that's arguably the most iconic iron head to ever be designed. As of today, and I'll show you prices here on the right hand side, these Apexes, buy it now, go for around £250, £280. I've seen them go as low as £200 on eBay, and considering these were £1,000 5 years ago, not to mention everything that you get with them, it's one of the most underrated clubs in our market as of today. The only reason I say that you can go and get the P790, even though it's more expensive and does virtually the same thing as this, is that you're buying into the hype, but the hype's not going anywhere. You spend £500, £600 on a set of these. 2 years' time, there's still going to be a demand for it. Both irons I have in my hands here are not going to lose you any money. Obviously, if you want something a bit higher spinning, a bit more controlling, then go for the Apex Pro. Price-wise, it's virtually the same as the Apex, if not in some cases slightly cheaper. So what happened to the Apex range? Well, it fell victim to the fast fashion that we have in this game. And when you've got 6 companies bringing out multiple iron sets every year, year on year, I'm not surprised that these then get relegated. However, technology has done so well over the last 10 years. Just because it's now affordable, don't think that it's not good. Guys, if you've got any questions on your golf bag or golf game, sasgolfacademy.com. Catch you guys later.